Hey YouTube, the prepared glue guy here. Hey, listen, it's almost April, and we're coming up to spring, and spring can bring some weather that it can get kind of nasty. We can get thunderstorms, lightning storms, tornadoes, that type of thing. And I just wanted to talk to you about having an emergency kit. Some of you may be clicking on this video to find out what should I have in an emergency kit. Others might be here to look to see, does he have anything in his kit that I don't have or that I need. Okay, so I wanted to talk about, from a survival standpoint, the type of things that you need in an emergency kit. And one of the fastest ways that you can die in an emergency is being in extreme weather conditions, whether that be in the wintertime and it's freezing cold, or in the summertime and it's 100 degrees outside and you can succumb to heat stroke, heat exhaustion, that kind of thing. So being in Indiana where we live, it can get really cold during the wintertime. We get a lot of, most of the time, we get a lot of snow, we can get ice, and that sometimes can mean power outages. 18 years ago, when our kids were really little, 2.5 and a newborn, we had a major snowstorm, dumped about 18 inches of snow after about 1/4 of an inch of ice, and we had no power for 3 days. I was able, luckily we had a gas burning fireplace. I was able to take a blanket and put it over the entryway to our family room and keep our family room at 72 degrees for 3 days. It was beautiful until you went outside of the family room, and then it was probably closer to 40 degrees. So it was a major shock. So I would highly recommend, for those of you who don't have a wood burning fireplace or a gas burning fireplace, to get some type of alternate heat source. Okay, whether it be a Mr. Buddy heater that takes the 1 pound propane tanks. Okay, they cost about $4 a piece, or some type of a kerosene heater. It doesn't matter what you get. You need something that's safe. Okay, so technically they say that you can only live about an hour in extreme weather conditions. Now, if you're in your home and it gets really cold or really hot, you have a better chance of survival because you do have 4 walls around you, and you have a roof to keep the sun off of you, if you live in the south somewhere or in a place that's just really, really hot. So they say you can live an hour in extreme weather conditions before you succumb to the weather. They say you can live about 3 days without water. But after a day or so, you're going to start becoming dehydrated. You're going to become irritable, grumpy, not think straight, etc. So you need water. And you should probably have at least 1 gallon of water per person per day. And that takes into account the amount of water that you drink to stay hydrated, as well as water needed for personal hygiene, possibly to wash dishes, sanitation, that kind of thing. And then they say you can live about 3 weeks without food. Again, here in the good old USA, if we miss a meal, I think it's normally rare. Okay, so you start missing a couple of meals and you're going to be very, very irritable. Okay, so you probably need to have, for a family of 4 like us, you need to have at least 12 gallons of water on hand. Okay, I would have the gallon jugs like you see here, but I also have cases of water. All right, don't take the water for granted that's coming out of your faucet, because if there is a bad situation and they have an issue at the water treatment facility, you could be under a boil order, which means now you can't drink the water out of your tap and you need to have bottled water. Okay? For instance, my brother and sister-in-law live over in Ohio, and it was either a year or 2 ago they had a real big problem in Lake Erie with what was called, I think it was blue algae. And anyone who was on Lake Erie water could not drink the water. So my brother and sister-in-law had to go out and buy cases and cases of water. And they were the ones that made fun of my wife and I back in 1999 when we had 4 or 5 cases of bottled water just in case of Y2K. So they now realize that is why we had it, just in case. Okay? So as far as food is concerned, I would highly recommend, you have at least 3 days supply. Okay? You can get canned food. You can get dehydrated food like you see here. The big bucket back here actually has 330 servings in it. It will feed one person for a month on 2,100 calories a day. Okay, so if you break that down for a family of 4 like us, I mean, that's a week's worth of food right in that bucket. That doesn't take into consideration, tuna, soups, stews, canned vegetables, canned fruits, that kind of thing. I like to store pasta sauces. We do have a lot of canned good, but we also have a lot of freeze-dried goods. So one thing that you also want to be careful of and to have with you is, if you see in the back there, plastic cups, paper plates, plastic silverware. Okay, that will help you conserve water. Okay, because if you're using your nice china plates for every meal, you're going to be washing dishes and wasting precious water. Okay, so I would highly recommend you have a box of utensils, a package of paper plates, and some plastic cups. Okay, so we've talked about heat during the wintertime. We've talked about water. We've talked about food. And lastly, let's talk about some of the tools that you might need in, let's say, a grid down situation. Okay? Well, some of the tools that you think of immediately is light. Okay? You need to have candles. You need to have a lantern. You need to have flashlights. Okay? And they need to be in a place where you know where they are. And do not forget about extra batteries. Okay? As you see here, I have a headlamp here. This headlamp hasn't been opened, and there's a reason for that. Okay? I actually have 2 of these headlamps, one of which is at the top of my basement stairs, hanging on a hook, a peg, and one of them is in my trunk. I use them all the time. The reason why this one isn't there, or isn't open, is so that the batteries stay good. Okay? Because if you keep batteries in a flashlight, they tend to start to corrode and not work properly, and that's the last thing you want, is to have the power go out and your batteries are dead. Okay? So make sure that you have extra batteries. Make sure you have plenty of candles. Having an emergency radio, guys, an emergency radio like this, hand crank, solar powered, is invaluable. Okay? Not only can you listen to weather forecasts, but you can listen to music if you really wanted to, and all that stuff will just kind of take your mind off of the situation that you're in. Okay? Don't forget about tools, other tools like an adjustable wrench, a crescent wrench, a good pair of work gloves, okay? Maybe some, a nice multi-tool. This is just a cheap old multi-tool that has a knife, it has a can opener, it has bottle openers, it has scissors, it has a little saw, okay? And that actually brings up another point. Okay, if we come back here and look at some of this food, you got to remember a lot of these canned foods actually have the pop open top, okay? But things like tuna fish or pineapple chunks don't have the pop open top. So make sure that you have a can opener. Okay, whether it be one of the hand ones from your kitchen or have your multi-tool around that has a can opener on it. Okay, so this isn't a comprehensive list of people of things that you need in your emergency kit, guys. Okay, this could be, there could be people watching this video, like I said, that are just looking to figure out how to get started. There are other people that might look at this video to see if I have anything that they may have missed. Okay, so if you think of something that you don't see here, and this isn't a comprehensive list of everything that I have in my emergency kits. I have a very, very extensive kit, but if you think of something that you think might help other people, please put it in the comments. Constructive criticism only, please. And if you like the video, please click like, subscribe. I plan on making other videos. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I have been constantly preparing, well, probably since 1999 and the Y2K, but after our power went out 18 years ago was when I really started seriously preparing for what could happen. So again, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it, and until next time, take care.